This is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, August 10th, 2020. Looking at fire potential impacts for the next few days, there's quite a bit going on. Today we're looking at some isolated and generally dry lightning across mainly central Nevada. And in that area of lightning expands across the Great Basin on Tuesday. You can see that area highlighted in yellow on Tuesday where we're expecting a mix of wet and dry lightning. We will also see gusty winds in the 25 to 35 mile an hour range and low relative humidities across southeastern Utah and the Arizona Strip on Tuesday. You can see that area highlighted in orange. And then as we move into Wednesday, we'll see a larger portion of the Great Basin that will see the gusty winds and low relative humidity. On Wednesday, the main area of concern for the mixed wet and dry thunderstorms is across the eastern portion of the Great Basin. Across all areas that see showers and thunderstorms over the next few days, there will be gusty winds near those storms. Over the past 24 hours, it's been quite dry across the Great Basin. We just had a few storms across the southeastern part of the Great Basin. You can see some really light precip with those storms and a couple of lightning strikes. There's quite a bit of fire activity. You can see the news starts on the map here on red. And the unusual thing for this time of year is the fires we have going on across the southern part of the Great Basin. Typically, by the early part of August, we have the monsoon across the south, which really lowers fire activity, but it's been quite dry across the south this year, and we have more fires in that area than we typically see. Looking at the percent of normal for precipitation over both the past 7 and 14 days, it has been exceptionally dry across the entire Great Basin. The image on the left is showing the past 7 days, and really extremely dry across the entire area, hardly any precipitation at all to speak of. And even looking back at the past 14 days, we did see a little more precipitation in the beginning of that 14-day period, but still anomalously dry, abnormally dry across basically the entire area for the 2-week period. With those exceptionally dry conditions, it's no surprise that our ERCs are so high, and we are seeing a really, I'd say, alarming number of RAWS stations in the 97th and above percentile. So really unusually high ERCs, especially across the central and southern part of the Great Basin. Taking a closer look at those ERC trends, you can see we are setting records by a long shot in quite a few areas here. I've highlighted GB35, which is southern Utah and the Arizona Strip. You can see we're far above previous record values. Typically, ERCs have dropped quite a bit by this point in the fire season, but not this year. It's been so dry across the south, and even up into GB20, which is in east central Nevada, also setting record ERCs. Live fuel moistures are at or below normal. These samples are from about 9 days ago, so they don't show the most recent dry conditions, but still looking at sagebrush moisture across the southern part of the Great Basin, well below normal, and still a little below normal moving further north into the Great Basin. Satellite this morning shows zonal flow, westerly flow across much of the area. You can see some clouds popping up across parts of Nevada into Utah, and those are generally the areas where we are expecting to see showers and thunderstorms develop this afternoon. Looking at today, again, you can see that little black strip on the map on the left. That's where the moisture is in place, and we're expecting storms to develop. We do have a high risk issued for today for portions of Nevada for dry lightning. If we look again at that in a little more detail on the image on the left, you can see those really focused areas of gusty winds. Those are in anticipation of the thunderstorms this afternoon and the gusty winds that will accompany those. On the image on the right, you can just see a couple dots as far as precipitation amount. Not a lot of precipitation with these storms, but generally we are expecting isolated storms to form across Nevada and into far northwestern Utah. As we move into Tuesday, we start to see moisture increase, and this is quite concerning. It's been so dry across the entire Great Basin, and any lightning could bring significant problems. We do have a pretty large portion of Nevada high risk for lightning, and that extends into Utah and far southern Idaho. So quite a bit of concern about the potential for lightning and the new starts that could accompany that on Tuesday. We're also looking at gusty winds across the southern part of the Great Basin on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, on the image on the left there, you can see those gusty winds across southern Utah. We're in the 25 to 30 mile an hour range tomorrow afternoon. And then further north, looking at gusty winds with thunderstorms. The image on the right is showing the forecast precipitation amount. We're looking at much more widespread storms. These are expected to be a mix of wet and dry. As we move into Wednesday, still keeping much of that dry air in place, but still enough moisture across the north that we are expecting some showers and thunderstorms to develop again. We will see storms across a pretty large portion of the northern part of the Great Basin, but we are most concerned about western Wyoming for the potential for dry storms there. And really the notable thing on this map here is the high risk for wind. And the concern is that this is in basically the same area that we have the lightning threat on Tuesday. So wind following dry lightning is quite a concern, and so we have a high risk out for that on Wednesday. If you look at that in more detail, again, on the image on the left, you can see that wind forecast, and we're looking at winds generally in that 25 to 30 mile an hour range, though we could see some isolated areas with higher winds than that. And the image on the right shows the precipitation forecast. So again, expecting storms across northern Nevada and into northwestern Utah on Wednesday. Over the next 3 days, no significant precipitation expected. We will see some storms, but not a really significant amount of rainfall is expected to accompany those. As we move into Thursday, you'll notice the green across the southern part of the Great Basin. We are expecting monsoonal moisture to begin to make its way into the southern part of the Great Basin on Thursday. This, again, is a concern with how dry it's been down there, and initially with monsoonal surges, we will see that lightning threat. And as you move into Friday, you can see that moisture moving north. We do have a high risk out for lightning for Friday across the south. We'll, of course, be watching the development of this moisture surge and kind of following that with the lightning threat. And moving into Saturday, keeping some moisture in place across the south, but it really doesn't look like moisture that's here to last for too long. It doesn't look like a big wet period. Just kind of looks like a quick surge of moisture through the weekend. Here's Sunday, again, already starting to see some dry air in place across the Great Basin. Over the next 7 days, again, really dry on the map. This goes through August 17th, and it's really not looking like we'll see much precipitation in the next week. Finally, in the 8 to 14 day outlook, really not any good news, unfortunately. Through August 23rd, looking at below normal precipitation across the southern part of the area where we need it so badly, and continuing to see above normal temperatures. So we're looking at this hot and dry period extending out through the end of August. That's it. If there are any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thanks.